Hello everyone, Pyro7 here, and today I'll be reviewing Mattel's Jurassic World Dominion Hammond Collection Therizinosaurus. So this thing, I've wanted for quite a while, ever since I heard that they were making a Therizinosaurus Hammond Collection model in, I think it was 2022, there were rumors about it, along with the Hammond Collection Giganotosaurus, both of which we got, both of which I love. But first off, we're going to be reviewing the Therizinosaurus. And if you ask me, this is a very large upgrade as opposed to the previous Therizinosaurus model, and I'll demonstrate or showcase a couple reasons as to why in a minute. But first off, just gotta look at the amazingness of this thing. It's very movie accurate. It's very large. I'd call this an extra large model. There's a couple things that they got incorrect. There's a few details that need to be fixed. So let's go over the basic design first. It looks very similar to the Therizinosaurus in Jurassic World Dominion, obviously. The coloration is very good. In fact, it's not too far off from their original Therizinosaurus model. It's a nice dark blue on the back, some light red details on the feathers, all the way from the neck to the end of the tail. The head has some tealish yellow detailing, especially around the beak, and then the underside is a grayish color, as are the legs, feet, and a little bit of the arms, and I guess technically a tiny bit of the hands, the fingers. The underside color runs all the way along the tail, which is not a common thing for most Mattel dinosaurs. The eye has the exact same issue as their original model. It is colored. It does not have, the pupil is not white, which would be the cataracts on the actual Therizinosaurus, meaning that this model is not blind. But that detail aside, it's fine. It's a very good model. It's nice and feathered, not everywhere, but just about. On the it starts at the head, goes all the way down to the tail. On the legs, it's just to the knees, and then on the arms, it's really just the back of them. So the feathering is thick but sparse, which I think fits Therizinosaurus pretty well. And feathering detail aside, which looks pretty nice and feels pretty nice, the scales are actually pretty decent. I must say, the scaling detail, especially on the legs, good. The muscle detail is nice on the legs. Not as much the arms, but the feathers are covering them up, so that somewhat makes sense. And then the feet are nice. Speaking of colors, the toe claws are nice and stubby, but they are colored. The dew claws are not colored. The finger claws are, although that kind of makes sense, considering the animal. That's it design-wise. Articulation-wise, that's all this thing does. It is all articulation because it is Hammond Collection. Every single joint here is a joint that can bend, except in the tail. As with Hammond Collection and Beasts of the Mesozoic, the tail only has a joint here that can bend. The rest of it is a metal rod. So, oh no. That's better. My Therizinosaurus model is not necessarily the best at standing. It's a little, I won't say it's a little top-heavy, but it is a little wobbly. But I manage it. It's not the worst. It still stands fine. But the hips can move. The knees are capable of bending, as I will demonstrate in a little bit. The ankles can. The toes can. The shoulders are ball and socket joint. The elbows can move. Wrists can move. For whatever reason, the claws are capable of moving. I'm not really sure why they did that. And then neck articulation is just up and down. Head articulation, side to side, little bit up and down, but not a whole lot. And then the mouth can open, revealing a very nice paint job on the inside of the mouth, I must say. And the teeth are individually sculpted. That, and they're their own sculpt as well. It's not part of the model itself. It's actually like a nice rubbery texture. And there's also no teeth up in the beak area on either jaw. There we go, I got it in a new pose. And I've bent just about every different joint I brought up. One thing I did forget to mention about the tail is that it is nice and rubbery textured, as opposed to the plastic model for the rest of it. But the tail's nice and rubbery with a metal rod. I swept around the legs it's standing on. I am not usually a nitpicky person when it comes to dinosaur models, but I am in the sense that I personally prefer the right leg and the right foot being in front of the left. Very, very minor nitpick. But for whatever reason, it's actually standing way better this way than it did the previous way I had it. I got the neck turned, head turned, mouth opened, and then it's displaying its meter-long claws towards something, I don't know, maybe Tarbosaurus, since they lived together. But yeah, this is about it in terms of articulation, and there's no action feature because it's really posable. That said, I do have the other Therizinosaurus to compare it to. Allow me to just get this guy back in regular pose. Okay, so I got the other Therizinosaurus here. This guy's all nice and straight again, no unique poses. And based on a side-by-side comparison, I think it's pretty obvious that the Hammond Collection one is the better out of the two. Like, this is their mainline one from 2022. Main issue immediately is that the feet are way too massive. Like, easily way too big. I get that they're supposed to be used for, like, support and whatnot to help make sure it stands. And sometimes these claws, the arms of the claws will droop downwards and support it that way. But even still, the feet are way too big. The head on their original is also too large in terms of the size of the body. The hands seem to be okay. The claws might be a little bit too curved. But otherwise, they seem okay. The coloration is pretty close, I will say. I don't know where they got this stripe from. It's not there. Or it could be. I don't know. I'd have to watch the movie again. But the coloration is close, but once again, not perfect. None of the toe claws are colored on their original. The finger claws are like the only ones that are. And the tail kind of has a little bit of a feather fan, as opposed to just not really at all on their Hammond Collection model. So, although the original Therizinosaurus does have an action feature, the Hammond Collection one is overall better, simply because of it's more movie accurate. The details are, in general, better for a Therizinosaurus model. So now, yeah, between the two Therizinosaurus models Mattel makes anyway, they're doing another one that looks an awful lot like their original, just different action feature. I don't know why, especially since we already got this thing, and this is honestly enough. Between the two, I would personally recommend the Hammond Collection. It is a little bit more expensive, yeah, but, like, it's worth it. It's worth all the realism and the points of articulation and whatnot. But yeah, this is the Hammond Collection Therizinosaurus review. Overall, a very nice animal. Several other toy companies have already made it, but this one I personally would recommend because of the different articulation possibilities there are, as opposed with almost every other toy company. They don't really let you pose dinosaur models. They're already in a pose and you're stuck with that. So yeah, this is the Hammond Collection Therizinosaurus. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll be seeing you again next time. See ya.